Well, hello YouTube, Steve Patton with General Patton Bushcraft back with you with another video. Friends, I'm super excited to bring you the recap of Alone Season 11, Episode 6, titled Murphy's Law. Stay tuned. Okay, friends, they're up there in the Arctic Circle. This is the recap for episode 6 titled Murphy's Law, and every show starts with a famous quote. This quote is a Tanzanian proverb, and it states, little by little, a little becomes a lot. And it's day 19, 8:58 in the morning, 6 people remain. The show goes right over to Timber. Timber's 35 years old from Indiana, USA. It's 42 degrees. He boils some spruce and decides to shave, friends. And he uses that arrowhead, the one that he used to kill that big bull moose, and he tries shaving a little bit. And the reason why he's using that spruce is it's antiseptic and it's a little bit soothing to the skin. Now, we learned that Timber has burned 10,000 calories butchering 600 pounds of that moose meat. He's got all the meat smoked in the food cache, and he starts moving into his permanent shelter. Remember, he used that shelter as a big giant smoker to smoke that 600 pounds of meat. It's a beautiful shelter. And he decides to build a bed. He wants to build it 3 feet off the ground. He's super tired, friends. He gets about half of the bed done, and he's gassed. He thinks he might be getting sick. He's worked hard, super hard the first 3 weeks. He's hot, cold, chills, then sweating. So he takes it easy the rest of the day of day 19. All right, it's still day 19. It's 1:29 in the afternoon, and the show goes over to Dub. Dub's 44 years old from Michigan, USA, and he's having a lot of fun for the camera, friends. He's pretending like he's an auctioneer, and he's auctioning off this piece of firewood that he's got, and he auctions it off to a woman in the back for $42. Pretty good skit on Dub. It was kind of funny. Now, pre-winter is it's pre-winter, 43 degrees, it's cooling off, and his focus is firewood and food, friends. He goes down to check the gill net, and we learned that Dub weighs 167 pounds, and he's lost 24 pounds so far. Nothing in the gill net, so he's fishing with that set line that he has that L7 trigger set up on. And friends, we see Dub catch a giant 36-inch pike, and he shows that thing off to the camera, friends, and he didn't club it in the head with the club. That thing wiggles, jumps out of his hands, and he loses that 36-inch pike back into the water, friends. That was 5 days of food. Oh my goodness. So big mistake on Dub. All right, friends, it's day 19, 3:21 in the afternoon. Now the show goes over to Jake, and we see Jake make a nice hobbit pipe, friends. He got some clay, made a nice little clay pipe. He used a long piece of dogwood for the pipe stem. And he fires that thing in the fire, friends, and makes a nice pipe, smokes some knick-knack in there, and then he decides to build a shelter. It's day 19. He hasn't built his permanent shelter yet, so he decides to build a wiki-up style. He's been searching his plot of land all over the place, up and down the river, and he decides the best place is right behind where his temporary shelter was, friends. And we see him cut down a bunch of conifers, and he needs to get the bark off of those conifer poles because that bark is super flammable, friends. So he gets about half done, decides to go fishing. Jake has caught 6 fish so far, 4 in the gill net, and 2 on the hand line. Remember, he lost his fishing line way back about day 2, and about 5:52 p.m. he's fishing with paracord and a piece of pike meat. We learned that he makes a leader out of some of the intestines of his boot laces. We learned that there's something special, a special kind of fiber in his boot lace that they make bulletproof vests out of. So he makes his leader because those pike got 700 teeth, friends. So he makes a leader out of those boot laces. Each participant is allowed to bring 25 hooks, but a treble hook counts as 3. 6:37 p.m. Fish on. He yanks the line, and oh no, his main line breaks. The leader held up that he made, but his main paracord line breaks. So he strips down and wades out into the river to retrieve that main line and that leader. We see him about 8 o'clock that night in his permanent shelter with the fire. His tailbone is sore, and he tells us he hasn't had a bowel movement in 12 days. So we'll have to see how it turns out for Jake. All right, it's day 20, 10:04 in the morning, and the show goes over to William. He's 49 years old from Labrador, Canada, and wow, we see him catch 3 fish that morning. So good on William. He's back at camp, boils some birch bark, and he's gnawing on birch bark. And birch bark is good for starch, sugar, and vitamins. So he's supplementing some carbs with all that fish he caught. He hunts for some berries. He finds some bearberries, and as he's looking for berries, collecting berries, he sees a pine marten up in the trees, friends. They can't hunt pine martens. It's illegal to take a pine marten. So he goes back, checks on his smoker, and the pine marten, the Canadian jays, and the whiskey jacks darn near cleaned all the fish out of his smoker. Oh my goodness. So far they've stolen grouse, fish, and berries. He's lost more than a week's worth of food. So he goes down, checks on the gill net, and he's got a nice sized whitefish in there in his gill net. So he guts that whitefish, cuts it in half, stores it in his gator, ties his gator up with some paracord. He ties that on a long stick, and he hangs that through a tree out over the cliff because he's tired of these critters taking all of his food. So good on William. Okay, friends, it's day 21, 9:13 in the morning, and Jake's laying in his sleeping bag in his shelter, and he gets a message of a med check coming later. And then we see all six participants. They're all getting a med check the same day. All right, the doctor shows up with Jake at Jake's residence. They do the physical on him, and Jake gets pulled, friends. No bowel movement. They're worried about sepsis setting in on him, and he gets pulled. All right, friends, it's day 21. 5 people remain, and the show goes over to Sarah. She's 48 years old from Alaska, USA. She has 6 baited hooks in the water, and they're baited with grouse bones. She doesn't have any good bait, so she's trying to use the bones. Goes down to the water, check her line, and on the way down, she sees a spruce grouse, gets a shot off, misses it. She sees another one, friends. She shoots another arrow, misses both. The show doesn't show her looking for the arrows. I don't know if she ever went to go find them or not. They only get 9 arrows. She goes down, checks her fishing lines. Nothing, friends. Nothing on the lines. And she's back at her shelter, friends. She has an emotional breakdown. She's having a bad day, friends. She owns that lodge back in Alaska as a fishing guide, and she can't catch any fish. All right, friends, she has that emotional breakdown, and she says she still has fight left in her, and she is not tapping out, just had a bad day. All right, friends, it's day 22, 10:04 in the morning. The show goes over to Isaiah. He's 35 years old from West Virginia, USA, and he's lying in his bed, and he says it's new sock day. Friends, participants get 6 pair of socks, and 22 days in, he's busting out a new pair of socks. So good on Isaiah. He's super fatigued, and he's not feeling that good, so his plan for the day is to take it easy. And he hasn't pulled his underwear off in 2 weeks, friends. We see him down at the river, washing those underwear in the river. So he boils some water, gets a drink, goes for a walk, and he finds a big old tangled up gill net. So good on Isaiah. All right, friends, day 22 now, 12:36 in the morning, and the show goes over to Dub. He's rummaging around in his shelter, friends, and we hear this crack. He smashes his sunglasses in, not sunglasses, his reading glasses, or I guess he has to wear glasses. He doesn't see very good. He breaks the plastic frame, friends. So we see him do a repair on the plastic frame with some paracord and some pitch, and melts it back together, ties it together. He does a real nice repair on those glasses. So good on Dub. Hi friends, day 22, 2:47 p.m. and the show goes over to Sarah, and she's showing us 2 spruce grouse that she got. She's feeling much better. She had that bad day before, but she's feeling much better today. She couldn't get her camera working, so she didn't get the killing of the hunting of the spruce grouse on film. But she shows us those 2 spruce grouse, so good on Sarah. All right, friends, it's day 23 now, 11:41 in the morning. Show goes over to Isaiah. Isaiah hasn't had any protein in 8 days. He goes down to check his set lines that he's got in the water. No fish today for Isaiah. So he goes back and works on that tangled up gill net, friends, and he gets a lot of it untangled, about I think 12 foot. That's what they're allowed. He gets it cut into the legal length. I think it's about 12 foot of gill net. And he's complaining about his heart pounding, chest pain, stomach issues. He goes and cuts a spruce tree down, cleans it up for a long pole so he can deploy that gill net, friends. All of a sudden he doubles over from the chest pains and from the stomach issues, and that's where the show ends right there, friends. The show ends right there. Season 11, episode 6, titled Murphy's Law. And that ends my recap. I want to thank you for stopping by the channel. Before you leave, please consider subscribing. If you do subscribe, bang that bell icon. In the drop-down menu, do select all, friends. All right. I appreciate everything you do for the channel. All your views, all your likes, all your shares, but most importantly, all your comments. Leave me a comment. Let me know who you think's going to win this thing. I got my money on timber with that big old bull moose is 600 pounds of meat. All right, friends. Please don't depart from the faith. And if you haven't already, give your life to Christ, friends. Ask him to come in and save you. He will. He died on the cross, on the tree for you. He loves you very much. Do it today. Don't wait. And as always, God is good. God is great. I see y'all on the next video. Already got a date.